3 food drops right there, ready to be delivered into Alice Springs. And then I've got the food that I'm carrying in my pack just over there next to my my Atmos 65, the Osprey Atmos 65. So I just wanted to go through my gear one little bit at a time. I do have a weight list, but it does weigh in, as I said, about 9.2 kilos. So let's start with the sleep system here. That is the sleep system, and yes, I do have 2 mattresses. 2 reasons. I really want to sleep well. It's 21 days, 20 nights out in the desert, and so I'm carrying the Thermarest, just the Z Light, and also the ultralight Cedar Summit mat. It is insulated. It's going to be cold out there, so it's the ultralight insulated, and also, hey, I'm getting old. I'm 50 years old. I like a few luxuries, so I've got the Cedar Summit ultralight, the Eros ultralight pillow in the large. In there is my sleeping bag. It's the Enlightened equipment. I can never remember the name of these things. But it's also got the Enlightened equipment hood, and I've got a silk liner in there, and the straps that strap themselves underneath the mattresses. This is my big Agnes copper spur ultralight. It's the new version of that. It's a 2, because Christine's coming to join me for the last week, and that's actually only the footprint and the fly, and the poles and some pegs sitting there next to it. So that is all of that. Over here is a fairly simple cook system, just a bag, my titanium cups. I've got 2 cups in there, a small one and a large one, mainly because I use this little coffee bag, and I need to drop that into 1 cup with coffee in there and pour hot water through that. So I do need 2 cups. When Christine comes, she'll just use one of them and we'll work a system out. But titanium, it's actually not titanium, but it's the Cedar Summit long-handled spoon, because I eat mostly out of the D'Hide packs. In there's the little tiny BRS titanium stove, and I will have a gas bottle in there as well. Once I get myself into Alice Springs, I'll buy those. And there's a heat shield that is actually got magnets in it. It clicks onto the side of the gas bottle, and I just found that recently here in Perth at a guy's place. He sells stuff. He calls himself redtailoutdoors.com.au, and he's got a few bits and pieces of gear, mainly sort of cheap imports from China, but if you're looking for just a heat shield or something basic, then Redtail Outdoors got a bit of gear right here in Perth if you're a Perth person. Let's move across to here. It looks like a lot of first aid. Maybe it does to me. Emergency blanket, snake bandage, a little bit of Fix-A-Mole, sticky back tape instead of band-aids. Good for all sorts of things. And then I've got some Rid. There's a lot of mozzies and flies out there, so that's not full. None of these things are full. So the Voltaren gel is not full. It's all fairly, just taking a little bit out of it to lighten it up. Antiseptic ointment, some Glide for chafing. I do, I'm a bit chubby at times, so a bit of chafing takes place. Then in there I've got some anti-inflammatories, a course of antibiotics, some antihistamine, and there's not much else in there. Imodium for stomach upsets. And I actually threw in some sleeping tablets, because if all that doesn't work, then I can just take a tablet and get a good night's sleep. Some Hydrolyte to replace some salts. And over here is just my bit of toilet paper and some hand sanitizer. I could cut the end off my toothbrush. That'd save me a few grams. There's some toothpaste there, some earplugs. Over here I've got some electronics, bit of weight in that sat phone, but I have promised my loved ones to keep in contact, so I've got a sat phone there. And I'm taking the heavier of my 2 tripods. That little Manfrotto is a great little tripod. It's really solid, and I've decided to take that one. It's not too much extra weight. It is a bit, but not a whole lot. This is a little thing that I found on the internet. It's just a selfie button, so if I want to press the play button or take photos from a distance, I can do that because I'm out there by myself. This is just what I connect my iPhone, which is my primary camera, to any device. I'll show you in a second, I've got a little connector on the bottom of my walking pole. I've just drilled a hole in the top of the head of my walking pole, and I can use that as a kind of a monopod. Sat phone, headphones, charger for my watch, and then that's just a double charger. I will reach a couple of power outlets throughout the walk at a couple of little cafes that I find, so this will be good to recharge things. It'll recharge my Anker 10,000 battery, and it will recharge my iPhone and my watch, but I can do a lot of that charging using that along the way. I left my little solar panel behind. It was just an extra bit of weight that I thought I can do without. If I run out of power, I run out of power. And of course a little PLB, little tiny little Rescue Me. I think it's one of the smallest ones on the market at the moment. I've tested that and it works. And a notepad and a pen, just a bit of journaling. That is my gadget pile. Over here, it's hydration. So that's just the bag I'm keeping my gadgets in. Over here I've just got a little bladder. I just picked that up. I've used the big one, the 10 litre one for kayaking before. This is a little 2 litre Cedar Summit. Handy just to hang up from a tree. I like having a little tap there. It's probably a tiny little bit of extra weight, but I'm saving a bit of weight. I'm generally leaving all my Camelback and all those kind of water bottles behind, just taking these lightweight plastic. That's a 1 litre one. That'll slide into the side of the pack. This will probably slide in a bit easier, and it's got that top on it that's nicer to drink from. I've got a Platypus 2 litre bladder as well. If I don't need to carry a whole lot of water, I can just fold that up and stuff it into my pack. And then I've just got a little filtration system. I've sort of a bit of a homemade thing here. This is a MSR trail shot that I've adapted a little bit as a gravity feed, just using this system here. I'll hang that, or I can roll it and squeeze the water through the filter and into a bladder or a water bottle like that. So that all wraps up. It's not heavy, especially using those. They're really light. So that gives me 5 to 6 litres of water. If I need to carry that, I will. Let's jump across to clothing. Pair of old Crocs that are nice to slide onto my feet at the end of a day. The plastic bag there is my liner. It's just a heavy duty plastic bag from Bunnings or somewhere. I just find that easier to use than going out and buying big pack liners and things like that. So last minute throw in, these are a pair of what are they? Berghaus waterproof pants. They're not heavy, they're actually lighter than a pair of walking pants that I've got. I wasn't going to wear pants. I was going to wear shorts, and I had a pair of thermals. But we're staying one night at a Glen Helen homestead out there. Glen Helen homestead is, I've got a restaurant booked, so I thought at least I'd better have a pair of long pants and not just walk in my thermals and shorts. And it'd be nice to take shorts off. 21 days worth of walking in shorts. This is all the clothes that I'll have in my pack. So it's just my puffer jacket there, just a Patagonia puffer jacket. It's hoodless. I've got a beanie there, and long johns, like long thermals. They're just they're not even wool ones. They're Mount Designs. May they rest in peace. top and bottom. And across here I've got a pair of ex officio jocks if I do end up throwing on the jocks and not relying on the on the liner. There's some good hard wearing jocks there, and a nice pair of night socks, merino and possum wool from New Zealand. Just a pair of, they're kind of undergloves, but I didn't want to carry a thick pair of gloves. That's just icebreaker undergloves, and a tiny little towel there. I might regret that if I get swimming in some cold water, but that's what I'll carry in my pack. There's not a lot of clothing there, but I don't think I am going to need too much more than that. Let's look at the clothing that I'll have on me, or the gear that I'll have on me. Of course, some sun cream and some lip balm with 50 plus. My Spyderco knife. I decided to take my Keens shoes, not boots, just a pair of Keens with the super feet. Pair of, I think I'm going to take probably icebreaker socks or these smart wool socks, and I like to wear my Injinjis as liners underneath. We'll see how we go with the heat. If it's too hot, I'll get rid of the liners. I decided to wear the shoes instead of my ultra trail running shoes. Well, there's a lot of spin effects. It's really hard wearing, and I do tend to slip around a fair bit inside my ultras, and maybe they're a half size too big. So I've gone with the heavy wearing boots. It's a heavy wearing track. A lot of people say they throw their shoes out after the Larapinta. I am expecting a little bit of rain, so I've thrown in an iPhone cover for my iPhone, which I'm using right now, so you haven't seen it. I'll have a pair of sunglasses, prescription sunglasses, along with my reading glasses. Can't see a thing. Just a pair of Patagonia. I think these are actually board shorts, but they're made by Patagonia. They're hard wearing, and I find them really comfortable. They've got pockets in, you know, if I want to slip my phone into my pocket or whatever. I do like having the pockets in those. It's sort of a running short style, and just Mount Designs, may they rest in peace. Long sleeve, sort of, you know, your usual hiking Columbia style long sleeve rollable. You can roll your sleeves up, make them short sleeve, but I find that good for sun protection. It's got a collar. Speaking of sun protection, there's my hat. No, I won't be wearing my head torch while I'm walking. I don't know why it's in this pile, but there's my head torch. My buff, I will wear my buff under my hat as like a shoulder protection, back of the neck protection from the sun when it gets really hot. I did have an umbrella packed for the sun, but changed my mind on that one. Threw it out when I was culling weight. Mozzies and flies get pretty bad, so it's just a simple, super lightweight head net. As I said, I'm expecting a bit of rain, so that's a lightweight raincoat. I don't know who makes it. Marmot. Yeah, starts with a C, that brand, Marmot. I can't remember what it is, but it's pretty lightweight. And Cedar Summit Spinifex gaiters, suitably named for the Larapinta Trail. Again, I went with those. I didn't take my Dirty Girl gaiters. I just found them to be too thin. I went for a walk in Karratha recently, and the Spinifex just left me with little holes all in my ankles and lower legs. So these are small gaiters, but I think they'll be, and they're heavy, but canvas will protect me from all the Spinifex. I got my maps. I'm only carrying the sections of maps that I need to, and the rest of them are in my food drop box. And this is these are carbon fibre poles. I'm yet to be convinced. I did snap one once, but we'll see how we go out here. They're nice and light, and that's the monopod that I set up. That doesn't have to stay in there. I can just pull that out if that gets in the way, but it's nice to have something to clip my camera onto the top of a walking pole. Have I missed anything? I don't think I have. So that's my gear. I'll put the weights up on the video, and I've got to pack it all into this giant big bag for the flight, because I'm doing some work in Northern Territory before I start the hike. So I'm going to pack the pack and everything for my week before the hike into this giant big bag. Of course, there's some spare. I've got to pack my scroggin and all of that yet. Have I missed anything? I hope I haven't. See ya.